So, welcome to the Mindful Monk. I am here in the west of Ireland with a friend of mine, Tony Bates, who I've known since we were in college together doing psychology way back. This man has gone on to spend his whole life in psychology as a clinical psychology in St. James's, founded Jigsaw, done many things, and now has retreated really to the west of Ireland, living by himself. And I've asked that we reflect on the experience of this move and on his how he sustains himself within this particular environment and what are the riches of it. So welcome, Tony.
Thank you. Welcome to my own.
Lovely.
Yeah.
And Ballinbolbum
Yeah.
behind us in the background.
If we could
as you
see
can
it,
see.
it's there,
You can,
hidden
it's
in
there.
the mist.
It's there, just over your head.
Yeah.
Just over your head.
Yeah,
it's there.
it's peeking out.
Anyway, Tony, tell me, just first of all, the move. It's a very radical move from Dublin city life, where you grew up and spent most of your life.
Yeah.
And here you are living on your own in a wilderness, some people might think, sea and ocean. How has it been?
It's been wonderful. It's been wonderful. We made a decision to sell the family home in Dublin and downsize to a modest bungalow on a field. And we bought it for a song about 8 years ago and have been doing it up since. And part of that involved doing something with the garden,
Yes.
which is a challenge when you're on a cliff and you've got all this, you've got all this sea air and wind and salt sea air blowing through it.
There are a lot of elements to
Yeah.
contend with, yeah.
So how to plant and what to plant and how to nurture that. But I got good advice and planted over 1,000 plants and about 25 trees, and they needed minding. And I sort of moved here initially because the drought came, and I had to sort of hand water these plants. I couldn't use a hose, and there were so many of them. So I lost very few, thank goodness. But then I found myself spending months, weeding the garden, clearing out weeds to let trees and plants grow, and hands in the soil and just fertilizing, pruning, composting, all the things one does. Mainly it's weeding, I think, for me, and learning. I had an encyclopedia of gardening, and I just kept.
So it was a big learning curve.
The whole thing is totally new. I never had done this before. But I remember one day in particular, I'd had some serious health issues. I had a motorcycle accident, broken ribs, and really had a bad time with that. So I was in great pain. This was now sometime later, not that summer, but next spring. And I was still recovering, so I was, feeling badly. And I said to myself one day, I'm just going to spend a half an hour in the garden. 1 o'clock I'll go out and do a little bit, all I could manage. And then subsequently, during the afternoon, a neighbour came in to check something, and I looked up and I was talking to her, and I suddenly realised it was 5 o'clock. And I'd been out in the garden for 4 hours.
Okay.
And I said, oh my goodness, I said, I can't believe I've been out here this old. She didn't know what I was talking about, but I just can't believe it's 5 o'clock. And I said, and suddenly I said to her, and I feel so much better.
Okay.
I really feel better. I came out feeling a wreck. And somehow the 4 hours, doing gentle work, but consistent and, on my knees and all that, it had healed me. And I think in that moment, nature became not something beautiful I look at,
Yes.
but something that, or not even something that I have to look after,
Yes.
but something that looks after me.
Yes. It's reciprocal.
It's reciprocal. It was a relationship, and the garden was giving me back a degree of health
Yes.
that I had lost, and I was giving the garden some room to breathe.
Okay.
And I think that changed me. It changed my whole relationship with here. It is a beautiful place. It's a paradise and some gorgeous scenes, but I want to be part of it, not just
sort of
a spectator.
Good word.
Yeah.
And then animals.
Well, then I decided.
Yeah.
There's a lot of organic fertilizing has to go on. So I now have 4 hens who help me to do that. But I bought them originally because I have a grandson who's slightly ADHD and very you know, in his own little world, let's say, and he wasn't relating terribly well to people or school and that. And a woman locally who has a lot of hens, she said, you know, you need to get some hens because he can hold them and they settle and they'll settle him. And I never thought of that. I thought, you know, a little boy would want a puppy. But of course, when somebody's hyperactive, the puppy is probably the last thing you need
to
give them.
add to it. Yeah.
So I got this, and he came, and you know, I said to him, I'm going to have to teach you how to hold these. And he was here within minutes of arriving from Dublin. He just reached down, picked up one, and then reached down and picked up the other. And he was completely natural with them. And then he spent the next week he was here, I 7 hours a day with him. He at one point climbed into the hen house, he's very thin, and he said, they love me, and I'm minding them, and he was the mother hen. And you're in the house with the chickens. Let me just see the chickens. Hold on, can you move back your head a minute? Are they okay with having you in there with them?
Yeah, they love me.
Oh, do they love you? Okay,
yes,
that's really good.
And I really like this place.
Okay. Yeah. And I just warmed to him. They all settled with him. They purred, you know, it was an amazing thing to see.
Yes.
And I'd also taken in some rescue cats, so I've mother and 2 kittens. And then my granddaughters came, but the chickens have grown a bit and they were a little bit frightened, they're younger. So I got 2 rabbits, a pair of rabbits that they could interact with. Now, how are they sleeping? It's just so good to have living animals.
Yes,
I don't think we can have enough of them, but
yes.
I never had any, so this is all new.
Yes.
And now they have to be looked after day and night, and their dens and pens have to be cleaned, and you know, I need to take good care of them, and I do. And I'm not living alone anymore.
Okay,
you know?
okay.
I mean, I've sentient beings that depend on me and love me back in their own way for what I give them.
And they're interacting with the local wildlife too.
There's great fun between the hens. I have a tree and a nest of magpies, and the 2 magpies are quite they're quite cheeky, you know, and they love to tease the chickens. They'll go up to them, and then the chickens will chase them, and they'll back away about 10 feet, and then the chickens, you know, and this goes on all day.
Yes, so
it's a drama out there.
A drama out there, yes, yes.
And, against a beautiful setting, and every day it's different.
As I speak, I can see the chickens running across the lawn. Yes, 2 Brahmins and 2
hybrids.
Two
Brahmins.
Two hybrids.
Yeah, the sky is falling. You know that poem, "The Sky is Falling." Chicken licking, the sky is falling. It's this drama, and he goes and tells all the animals in the forest. But every day I see that happening, because the chickens are all quiet in one corner of the garden, and the next minute the sky falls. Something happens, and they have to dash away, and they kind of scamper across the garden to the other corner, as though they want to tell somebody.
Yes.
Then they get there and nothing's going on, and they kind of scamper to another corner, and it's hilarious just watching them. You know,
there's beekeeping. As you know, I keep bees.
Yes,
but
of course.
one of the really important things is to tell the bees.
Yeah.
Tell the bees. It's a very old tradition that you go and tell the bees it's Christmas, Christ is born, or there's a new abbot has been elected, or something anything important that's happening. You go and tell the bees. It's a very old tradition.
I talk to them every day, these animals. I don't tell them about what's happening in the church. But I just talk to them because I believe they must know the sound of my voice. Yes. And that must communicate something. So I tuck the chickens in at night to bed and lock them up. They go into the roost with themselves, and then I have to lock them up because we have pine martens and foxes and all those, you know, wonderful animals who are not so wonderful for hens.
Well, enjoy, and we might come back in a couple of years and see what's happened to the chickens and the rabbits and the cats, and it's amazing that they all get on. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
And
thank you for coming.
We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Okay.